Hello and welcome to this video. On this video we are going to create a VPC with private and public subnets or using on AWS. So this is the diagram of what we want to create. We're going to create internet gateway, a VPC, a NAT gateway on our public subnets, our private subnets, and we're going to create some instances to test our if our network is working. So without further ado, let me show you the list of what we're going to do. We're going to follow this list. We have like 10 steps that we need to do to accomplish this. So without further ado, let's go, and we're going to be coming one by one to see this list when we are creating the VPC step by step. So we're going to go to our AWS console. And we go to our services and we go to networking and content delivery. We click on that and we select VPC. Once the VPC page is on, you're going to go to your VPCs. And we only have one VPC, which is the default VPC. So if you're creating instances and you don't specify the VPC that you want your services or instances to go to, they go to the default VPC. So because we don't want to use this, we are going to just create our own VPC. And for this case, we just want to give it a unique name. We're going to call it demo VPC. And we're going to give it a CIDR block of 10.0.0/16. And I think that's it for now. Then we create the VPC. Then we are going to come back here and confirm that we have our VPC created, and yeah, here it is. So now that we have our VPC, the next step that we are going to do is the second step. We are going to create two public subnets and two private subnets. So we come back to our console, and on the side menu we are going to come to subnets. We click on subnets. We don't have any subnets. We are supposed to have default subnets normally, but I accidentally deleted my default subnets. So to recreate them, I have to go through the CLI, and because I don't want to do that, we don't need to use the default subnets. We're just going to come and create our own subnets. So what we need to do, we need to select the VPC that we just created to put for a subnet to be in. If I can refer you to the diagram that we created, so we already created the VPC, right? So we need to these are the availability zones. So we need to create subnet 1, subnet 2, subnet 3, and subnet 4. So this is a subnet that we want to create right now, and we are going to create them in multiple availability zones for failover. And something that I forgot to mention, I am using the North Virginia region, but if you're in another region, you can select from here a list of regions. But for my sake, I'm using the North Virginia region. So then what we're going to do when you come to subnets, I'm going to give my subnet a name. So this is a public subnet, so we're going to give it a unique name that you're going to remember. So we're going to call it a public subnet 1. We're going to select availability zones. We're going to create them into availability zones in 1A and 1B. Reason is for failover. So we select 1A, and we're going to give it a CIDR block 10.0.0.1.0/16. 0/24, and then we are going to add another subnet. Add a new subnet. It's also going to be, because we need two private and two public, so this is going to be public to public subnet 2. We are going to put it in US is 1B, and we're going to give it a setup block of 10.0 0.20/24. Then we are going to create a private subnet, so we click on add subnet number 3. We'll give it a private subnet. You can call it whatever you want, but for the sake of for sake of simplicity, we're just going to use those names. You can call it whatever you want. So we're going to put it in US is 1A, and the last one we're going to add the fourth subnet. We're going to call it private subnet 2. We're going to put it in the availability zone. US is 1B, and then let's give it a setup block of 4.0/24, and I forgot to give the setup block for and then we click on create subnets. Once we're sure that we've done everything, we're going to go ahead and create our subnets, and as you can see, our subnets have been created. So yeah, you verify that everything is correct. So we come to step number 3, where you are going to create an internet gateway. So we come to a menu and we come to the internet gateway here. We click on internet gateway. We don't have any internet gateway, so we click on internet gateway. Let's give it a, for the sake of consistency, let's call it demo internet gateway, and then we create our internet gateway, and we come back here to confirm that we have it. Yeah, there it is. But as you can see here, it is not attached to any VPC, so we need to the next step is attach it to the VPC. Excuse me. So we're going to come here and we come to actions and attach to a VPC, and then we are going to select our demo VPC. So our demo VPC now can communicate to the internet. It has a gateway to the internet. So the next step, which is step number 4, you're going to create public and private route tables. So we need two route tables. We need for the public subnets, we need route table for that, and we need private route table for private subnets. So we are going to create two routing tables. So let's come here and we go to the routing tables. We already have routing tables by default, but we are going to create our own. So we are going to call our routing table for the public RT, and we are going to it's supposed to be used in our demo VPC. So we select that and create the routing table. confirm it's been created. Yes, so we create the other one for the private subnet. So we call it private routing table. We assign it, we use it in our demo VPC, and that's it. So we come to the fifth step, and that is adding our internet gateway to the public routing table. So we come to our routing tables, and we come to the public routing table, and we want to add routes so that this routing table has the access to the internet. So we're going to come to the routes, and then we edit routes. We add a route. It's 000 because it's going to the internet, and it's going through our internet gateway, and our internet gateway is going to pop up. So we select the demo internet gateway, then we save the changes. So the next step we're going to take, we're going to add public subnets 1A and 1B in the routing table. So our public subnets, we're going to attach it to the public routing table. So we're going to come to our public routing table, and we need to associate it with our public subnets. So we click on public association. There's no association as yet, so we come here and edit association. We select our public subnets 1 and public subnet 2, and we save the changes. And when we go back, you see that our public subnet has an attachment to our public route. The next thing that we're going to do, we are going to create a NAT gateway in a public subnet. So we come to the NAT gateway. We click on NAT gateway. On our VPC demo VPC, we don't have any NAT gateway, so we are going to create a NAT gateway here. The reason why we need a NAT gateway is because the resources in our private subnets cannot access the internet, and they are made so that we need to protect them from the internet, but they need in one way or the other to access the internet, maybe for patching, for updates and all that. So we have to have a way of them accessing the internet without the traffic from the internet to come directly to them. So that is why we need a NAT gateway, and a NAT gateway can only be created in a public subnet which has access to the internet. So so basically the resources in our private subnet can access the internet, but the internet cannot come directly to our instances in the private subnet. So let's go ahead and create a NAT gateway. Let's give it a name. Demo NAT, and we are going to put it in a public subnet. So let's just put it in a public subnet 1, and we need to assign it an elastic IP address, and we go ahead and create a NAT gateway. So when you come to the NAT gateway, we see that it's pending. The reason why it's pending is because it's take a little bit of time to be created. So at this point, I'm going to pause this video, then we come back to the next step when it's created. Thank you. See you then in a few. So as you can see, our NAT gateway is now available. it takes a little bit of while to load. So we are going to go to the next step, which is add a NAT gateway to a private route. That's step number 8. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to our routing table, and we click on our private route. We come to the routes, we edit routes, because we want our resources in the private subnets to access the internet. We're going to add to anywhere, and we are going to give it to point it the source to be our NAT gateway that we just created, and the target is our target, the NAT gateway that we just created, pops up. We select it and we save the changes. So the next step, which is the final step on creating our subnets, is going to add our private subnet in a public route. So we are going to associate our private routing table. We are going to associate it with a private subnet. So click on edit, and then we are going to select our private subnet 1, 2, and there you go. And we are going to click on save association, and you can see here it's already associated. So, and that's it for creating our subnet. We're done with creating our subnets. So the next step we are going to do, we are going to create EC2 instances in our private and public subnets to confirm that we have successfully created our, and to validate our connection. So let's come to services. We can search for EC2 instances, so I just select it from here. So we're going to come to launch instance. We're going to give our instance a name. Let's call it public 1. We select T2 micro, which is eligible to free tier. We are going to go ahead and let's go ahead and just create our key. Let's call it VPC demo. Key. And since I'll be using the party, I'm gonna select a PPK for now and create the key. Come to edit network. We want it to be in our demo VPC. You're going to select that because it's a public one. We're going to put it in our public subnet 1. Let's put it there. Then we're going to create a security group. We're going to assign it a public IP because it needs access to the internet. We're going to create a security group. We call it public demo SG. Let's give it a description. See now, it's SG in public demo subnets. So the inbound rules, we're just going to do SSH, and we can do it anywhere, but for the sake of security, which is the best practice, we're going to have the source as is my IP. Sorry, it's my IP. So I can only access it from my computer. So, and that's it. We just click on launch EC2, and everything looks okay. Then we can view our instances. Here we have put it in US East 1. So because we need another public instance, I'm going to click on create instance, and we are going to call it public 2. Everything looks okay. We going to put it free tier. We use the key that we downloaded, VPC demo key. And for the network, we need to edit. We put it in our VPC. We put it in a subnet public 2. And we enable the IP address because it needs to have access to the internet. A security group. We select the existing security group, and we look at the security groups in our VPC, and it's public demo security group, so we select that one. Everything looks okay from there. Then we go ahead and launch it, and we view the instances. They have been created, so we are going to create 2 private instances. So we're going to call it private 1. Everything we are going to leave it as it is. We still use the same key, VPC demo key. We edit our network settings. It needs to be in our demo VPC. Private subnet 3, that's okay. We don't need to have a public IP address, so we leave it at that. So we need to create a security group that can be SSH'd from the public subnet. Okay, so we are going to call it private demo security group SSH from anywhere. We customize, and here the source is the security group that we just created. What did we call it? Public demo SG. everything else looks okay, and we are going to click on launch. The instances, so the third instance is working, so we launch another instance. We call it private 2. We select the key that we created. We select an existing security group that we just created. Oh, hold on. Oh, we edit here. Sorry. We come and select our demo VPC. We are going to put it in private subnet 1. And we select the existing security group. We are going to call it private. We're going to select the private demo, and everything else looks okay, and we launch our instance. So we can go ahead and view our instances, and the next step we are going to test to see if we can SSH to our instances. So let me see you in a few. Thank you. So like we say, the next thing that we're going to do now that we have our public 1, public 2, private 1 and private 2 instances, we're going to SSH to our instances. So without further ado, let me just go to party, and we're going to select the party keygen, and we are going to load our key that we just downloaded. So the key is public demo key. We come to our downloads, we select the key, open, and save the private key. We are going to give a phrase here, a security phrase. So let me just give it admin. We are going to use it later. Admin, and we save the private key. And we're just going to overwrite what we have and just call it demo. Save, and then we can close that. Next thing, we come back to party, and we select pagent. So it's already selected, it doesn't appear. So if you look at the right of your screen, you're going to see it here. So double click on it, and we are going to add a key. So we add the key that we just downloaded, the demo key, open, then we put the phrase that we just did, okay, and we close it. We go back to party, and this time we are going to select this party. Under the session, we are going to, let's first go to SSH, and we go to auth. We click on auth and allow agent forwarding. The reason why we are selecting this is because we need to SSH the instance in the private subnet from the instance in the public subnet. That is why we have to allow the agent forwarding. Otherwise, if you use any other terminal, it's not going to work. So that is why we specifically use PuTTY for this kind of work. So then we come back to SSH, and what we're going to do, we're going to go back to our instance, and we select our public instance here, one that is already done, and we pick up the public IP address. As you can see, the instances which are in the public subnets, they have IP addresses, but the ones that are in the private, they do not have IP addresses because we didn't allow them. They are not supposed to have public IP addresses because they don't need to access the internet. They only have private IP addresses. So I'm going to come to public, and I'm going to copy the public IP address so that I can use this to SSH. So then I go to PuTTY, and I'm going to use the user is easy to user at, then our IP address, we paste it there. Just in case you're wondering where I got the EC2 user, let me show you. When you want to connect to SSH, it has to be the EC2 user. So this is generally what I'm just using, EC2 user at this. So we come back to PuTTY, and we click on open. Asks us whether we want to accept, and we click on accept, and there we are SSH'd in our public subnet. So to confirm that we have our internet gateway is working, we have internet, let's just ping google.com, and here we have results, so that one is working. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to SSH from this instance to the instance in our private subnet. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna go to a private instance, and I'm going to get the private IP address of my instance. So I'm going to come here and say SSH, and I'm going to put the IP address, and I'm going to confirm yes, and there I am. And as you can see, I'm already now in the in this instance. I'm not in the I'm now connected to the instance in the private subnet. So let me see if my NAT gateway is working. So let me do ping google.com, and as you can see, it's returning some results, so we are good at that point. And we can do IAM update. As you can see now, I can be able to update my instance in the private subnet. And with that, I come to the end of this video, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to install Jenkins in our instances using Ansible. So let's see you in the next video. Thank you very much.